Welcome back, episode 41, Style of Play Football. Myself, Theo. As you can see, I've been deserted. I've got Callum with me this week, though. What are you saying, Callum, man? You good?
Yeah, man, it's good to be back. We were just saying backstage. I think it's been a couple of years since I was last
Yeah,
on. It's
yeah,
been
yeah.
a while. I'm coming on at a bad time now.
listen, listen. It's probably why I've been avoiding you, innit? Because Chelsea's been a mess for like 3 years. Probably, yeah, 3 years, man. Since the takeover, we ain't been the same, man. But we're going to get into all of that. We're going to get into all of that. Before we do, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like the channel, like the video. Leave your comments, leave your thoughts. If you're watching live, get involved with the live stream and all that as well. So you can interact with us as we like to see. But we got to start one place and one place only right now. And it's with you, man, right now. So listen, I don't think you played that bad, but I want to hear your thoughts before I chime in. What did you think of the game? And then we're going to talk about Ange afterwards, because I know that he's splitting the fan base a little bit now in terms of Ange out. He's kind of being in motion a little bit. But what's your thoughts? What was your thoughts on the game?
You know what it is? I hear a lot of Spurs fans talking about the possession stats. Like, oh, we dominated the game. Da, 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 da. But I think like it's time as football fans we realise that having more possession don't necessarily mean you dominated the game. Like Arsenal were comfortable. I felt we didn't really create any serious chances. I mean, conceding from a set piece and the way we did again for me is unacceptable. I mean, last season, like I heard someone ask Ange in a presser, I think it was after the Chelsea game, we conceded like our 20th set piece of the season. Asked him, are you working in training on set pieces? Anything you've changed? And he was like, nah, we're not doing anything different. There's other things to focus on. And for me, that's just like, it's unfathomable. We
Yeah.
concede the same goal from the same corners last season, now again this season, and he's just refusing to change it. So, I mean, we'll go on to Ange talk later, but for me, the stubbornness there is just. I think this is what the third North London derby at home that we've lost in a row, and then he's got the nerve to come out and say, "I don't want our players to prepare for this game any differently." What are you talking about?
That,
He said he'd be upset if players were more hyped for this game. How, as a man that managed Celtic, do you not understand rivalry?
you hear what I'm saying? It's mad.
Like, like for football fans, football's escapism for a lot of us. And a lot of Tottenham fans obviously grew up in North London. We've got family and friends that support Arsenal. Like, he should understand how much that rivalry means. There's nothing worse than going into work on a Monday after losing to Arsenal. But to him, it's any other game. It's any other game to him. And to a lot of the players, it's any other game.
I was
I
going
think
to
that's
ask
where
you
the
that though.
problem lies.
Do you reckon that's what it is though? Because I think not that the rivalry's calmed down, because it's still there. Clearly, you can see that after the match and just the fans' reaction from Spurs and Arsenal. But I feel like maybe because the football, like football's changing, and it like it's changing. Some people say for the better, some will say for the worse. But back like early 2000s, 90s, like I see the goalkeeper hug Vicario and David Rea before the game hugging each other and all that. Like that would never have happened under Wenger and do you know what I mean? It would just never have happened in the early 2000s, because they just, I feel like maybe, I don't know, what do you think that is? Do you reckon it's just because, like, I don't know, it just seems like it's a handshake thing before the game. What's that?
I don't think these players I don't think they care as much. And like I'm with you. I'm on this Roy Keane thing. Like I don't care if you man play. I don't care if you man play for the same country. I don't care if you used to play for the same academy 5 years ago. You're not friends. After full time, cool. Do what you want in the tunnel. Don't care. Before the game, see a man hugging in the tunnel. When I see Maddison hugging Arteta during the game, my
I
head
see
was
that.
hot. My head was hot. He's been talking all week. All week, Madison's been talking about how much this game means to the fans, how much it means to everyone. I ain't seen Madison for like 5 months. Where's he been? He ain't played this. I mean, he has played, but he barely played this season. He weren't at the Euros for a reason. It's like
Fact.
you're talking bare before the game, and you're hugging Arteta on the touchline. Like it's little things like that bug me, and people will think it's silly, but
Nah, it's a
that's
mentality thing,
where
though.
like yeah, it's a mentality thing. Like you're going to war against Arsenal. That's what it should be. And I feel like the players just don't seem to care the same way. The manager clearly doesn't. So maybe because of that, it's trickling down. But it's just disappointing to see as a Spurs fan.
No,
And as an
100%.
Arsenal fan, you could see it meant more to you lot. I'm sure you saw that clip of the little mascot in the tunnels
Yeah,
before
I
the
can see
game.
it here.
Like that's brilliant. That's brilliant. I love to see that. Fair play to that little kid because
Nah,
that's what he should have been doing. I'm not going to get onto the Spurs kids. They're seeing professional footballers in front of them. They're trying to shake hands with the Arsenal players.
yeah, of
Fair
course.
enough. They're kids. They're kids. But big up that little Arsenal fan, man, because he
Nah,
knows like
he knew
you
the
lot
game
stay
was
away from
won.
our players.
He knew the game was won in it
He
before
knew it.
the
He
ball
knew
was
it.
kicked. But I just feel like that was probably the one time because I even backed Spurs to win. Like I thought, I even said to you actually, I said, oh, I feel like you can get a win before the game. I was like, you could probably win this game because obviously Declan Rice isn't there, Odegaard's not there, and I'm not saying that they're the only two for Arsenal because obviously they do have threats in terms of their defense is strong as well. But I just thought going into this game, I needed to see a little bit more from Dominic Solanke. I needed to see a little bit more from Johnson, Maddison, Son. They like they have to run through the brick walls for Ange. They have to do
No,
that because
absolutely.
if they don't do that, do you know what I mean? Like you can't like you're not gonna get a better chance in my opinion to play Arsenal because like I said, their defense is strong. Their midfield was a little bit weak in terms of Jorginho. Like you can see that he was a bit off the pace for me anyway. And their attackers, that like they weren't even playing that good football. Do you know what I mean? Like Martinelli would just like the amount of crosses he puts in and they end up nowhere is mad. I can't believe like for me, I would have played Sterling from the start, but.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And then who did that? Oh, Saka's a tricky one because he just cuts in. He just, you know what he's gonna do. He's got the ball. He just cuts in. But you know he only needs one opportunity. Just one little opportunity, and he'll do something. But I don't know, man. Do you feel that? Like we said, obviously the mentality thing was a thing for Spurs. But do you feel like Johnson has to do better? Solanke, another one, has to do better in front of goal, man. He had a couple of chances, and he didn't take them.
Yeah, I think I've got to start with for me, there's probably two players in that team that you expect to be able to grab the game by the scruff of the neck. And that's Son and Maddison. They're our two best players by far, even though they haven't really shown it consistently over the last season, well, this season and towards the end of last season. Haven't seen nearly enough from them. I mean, Maddison, I don't know what it is. I've got a friend who's a Leicester fan who says, Maddison, 25% of the season he's unplayable, 50% of the season he's missing, and the rest of the time he's injured.
Yeah.
And it's true, he's just like, he's got all the quality to be one of the best midfielders in the league, and he just doesn't turn it on when he should. With Son, I don't know whether it's a case of he's declining with age, but I think what I will say is the way Ange wants our wingers to play, hugging the touchline, whipping in crosses, that's just not his game. Like, when was the
Yeah.
last time you've seen Son have a shot from outside the box? I couldn't tell you when. But if you were to do your stats on like the last, I don't know, last 10 seasons, who scored most goals outside the box, it's probably him. Like, he's one of the best finishers in world football. He's just not shooting anymore because Andrew's got him hugging the touchline and trying to beat defenders one-on-one, and that's just not what he does. So I don't feel like the way we play suits him. Regardless, that's not making excuses for him because a player of his quality should be stepping up in these big moments. Johnson, I've come to expect absolutely nothing from him. I mean, if I'm being honest, I didn't want him in the first place. I think 50 mil and Ange's primary target being Brennan Johnson just didn't make sense to me.
What? You paid 50 mil for him?
Something like that. It might even have been more. Something like that. I mean, he's quick. He's quick. Decision making's not there.
Yeah, yeah.
Passing ability not there. Shooting poor. I'm not sure what the thought process was behind that one. And the fact that that was Ange's primary target for me is worrying. Solanke, I'm gonna give him time. I mean, he's not shown a lot, but he's only played 2 games.
Nah, he needs time.
Got injured, so I'm gonna give him time. I'm not gonna get on his back, but I do want to see a lot more from him. I mean, it's hard for Spurs fans. We was watching Harry Kane for the last 10 seasons.
Yeah,
Now we got
carried the team in it. Let's be honest,
literally
he carried the team.
he did, and now we got Solanke and Richarlison again, who's perpetually injured. So it's just like you look at the Spurs team, and then the squad that started. You're looking at the bench. There's nothing but kids on the bench. There's no one on there that can come on and change the game. And as Spurs fans, we can say, oh, it's because we're not spending the money. We spent 40, 50 mil on Archie Gray. Again, like, I've not watched the kids. I'm not gonna speak on him. I've heard a lot of positive things. 50 mil for, I think he's what, 19?
He's good.
Not, again, so I've heard, but Eze's there for 60 mil.
Nah, I hear you. Yeah, and he's proven. Eze, you know what you're getting for your
Saying,
money.
and
He can do
so,
what you need him to do, and I get it.
so when it comes to Spurs, I don't have hugely high expectations. I look at what we've been doing, the squad we have available to us, the almost one-dimensional way that Ange wants to play, and I'm not filled with a lot of hope, to be honest.
Yeah, it's. We're gonna talk about Ange in a minute, but I want to talk about the goal because I think you said about set pieces and all that before. And when I was out watching the game, so I had to rewatch the whole game, like just rewatch it, and then I see the goal go in. I'm thinking to myself, is Romero all right? Is he all right? Because you got to be strong in that situation. Like, you can't allow a man to push you, even if you think it's a foul. You still got to stand up and be strong. And even the marking was off. Like, the way he was trying to, I don't know what he was. Obviously, it looked like, I don't know what he was marking actually. I don't know, but you got to be strong there and Vicario has to do better in that situation for me. I just like you said, if they're not working on set pieces, then teams are going to capitalize on that. They're going to see that and they're going to think, right, okay, they'll stick a man on the goalkeeper. We'll have someone bomb into the box when the ball's about to be delivered in, and then dangerous times, man.
Yeah,
Avoidable.
I mean, Romero, like you say, Romero's got to do a lot better there. He didn't even know where it was Gabriel that scored, wasn't it?
Yeah. But he pushes
Yeah,
him. He does push him a little bit, but not enough
yeah,
for
but
a
not
foul.
enough. It's not enough. Like, you got to expect that's the Premier League. It's the most physical league in the world. Like, a little push here and there from set pieces, it's expected. Romero has to do better because he's a top centre back. He is a
Yeah.
top centre back, and he's known for his physicality. So you expect him to do better. I agree with you as well on Vicario, and I'm a huge Vicario fan. I've seen a lot of Spurs fans get onto him recently. I think in terms of his shot stopping ability, he's brilliant. He's obviously a little bit lightweight, and we've seen him get bullied from corners before. Some of that you can attribute to our defenders not protecting him well enough. But at the same time, he's a big guy. I want to see him command his area a little bit more. He shouldn't be conceded from in the 6 yard box from corners. You've got to be out claiming that.
Yeah.
So it's poor from both of them two, to be honest.
Yeah, no, it was. It was. I do blame. No, I don't put all the blame on Ange Postecoglou, but he's got to take a lot of this burden because even after the game, some of his comments were a bit mad. Like, "Oh, my second season, I always win stuff," and it's just like you're adding more pressure to a pressure cooker
Mm,
that is about to explode. Because the fans, a majority of the fans that I've spoken to so far, they're not Ange out, but they're ready to start shouting it. Do you get what I'm saying? Like they're ready because he just when I watch Spurs, I don't know. I just don't see enough to say they're not. You're not convincing enough. And Chelsea's the same. Like we're the same. I'm putting myself in that same boat, but I don't go. I can't watch a Spurs game and convincingly think, oh yeah, they're gonna get 3 points. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, I think he treats it like it's Celtic still, and there's a big step up. And no disrespect to Celtic, but there's a massive step up from the SPL and then coming to the English football, like the Premier League. You don't get time. Like, you might be able to lose to Hearts and Hibs, and people are, oh yeah, it's all right, you'll bounce back next. Nah, when you're Spurs, people still want you to win the games, and the pressure's on. So,
mhm.
what do you think needs to happen for Ange? Like, is it a case of he's had enough time now, and certain fans are right to say that he should be considered to be relieved of his duties, or do we need to let him embed Archie Gray, Dominic Solanke, give Brendan Johnson an opportunity as well? Is it
I
probably that
think
as well?
I think ultimately I'm not gonna be Ange out strongly purely because I just don't see any manager coming in and all of a sudden winning things at Spurs. I mean, we have Conte, Mourinho, proven winners that have come in,
Yeah,
and I just feel like the way Levy sets up the club is like he runs Tottenham Hotspur as a fantastic business. Like,
yeah,
Tottenham as a business, he's doing incredible. As a football club, I just don't think he cares about the team really having success on the pitch. As long as they meet their financial quota, get Champions League football, which we haven't for a while, but get Champions League football and get
yeah,
extra money coming in, sign young players, sell them on for more profitable, sign players from nations that are going to attract more fans, shirt sales. Like, that's the way he sees our club.
yeah.
And for that reason, we sack Andrew, bring someone else in. We're still not going to
Same problem.
get the players that we want. But with that being said, a lot of the players that we have signed in the last however many months have been Andrew's top targets. So I think his talent ID is worrying to me. I don't think the players that he signed are necessarily even in the positions we need, let alone that the profile to help us win here and now. I mean, Archie Gray, like you said, meant to be a top talent. Fair play. Bergval, he looks good. We're building a squad of young players, and it's all well and good, but there's not enough experience in our team. There's not enough players that can grab a game by the scruff of their neck and help us
Yeah.
achieve something. And if fans are thinking, oh, but in 5 years' time we might do that. In 5 years' time, Andrew's not going to be here. I don't think he'll even be here in 12 months.
Yeah, facts.
So, and then like if we think about it tactically, I feel like he's just unable to switch things up. Like
Yeah.
he's got such a one-dimensional style of play. Like the high line, it only works because of Van der Ven. God forbid Van der Ven pull his hamstring again, we're finished. He's got to make at least 10, 15 sprints from the halfway line every single game, and he's phenomenal at doing that. He's probably one of the only profile of players in football centre-back wise who can do that currently.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's relying a lot on him. Both our fullbacks, who, let's be honest, these are wing backs. Porro, Udogi, these are wing backs. These are men that can run down the wing, especially Porro, whip across him.
Yeah.
He's got them playing in centre midfield. When it works, it works. When it doesn't, they're left stranded up in midfield.
Yeah.
And we have no centre backs to cover. You watch every goal we concede. If it's not from a set piece, it's from a counter attack. And there's 3 or 4 players on Romero and Van der Ven sprinting back. We cook. So it's like the fact that he's not been able to change that up, and then going forward, it's clear to see his tactics. Just wingers run down the line, cut back. Sometimes there's no one in the box. So it's like this is what they're practicing in training every day. Why is there no one in the box when you man are cutting back? So I'm just watching the same thing every game.
It's frustrating, isn't it?
Tactics and the same results, and the results are not good. So it's hard for me to look forward and think, oh, maybe it'll work out if the players get.
I agree with you. The first thing you said then about Levy wanting it to kind of just be a business and have the concerts there and the NFL and all that. He's happy for that because it still churns money through. He's generating money for him, for the club, and whatever else. Whether he's reinvesting that back into the football club is a different story, or if he's reinvesting it properly, or as he should be, replacing certain players that I still think you haven't. Like, I know you can't replace Harry Kane like at all, and I know Solanke's come in, but I still think you need more firepower going forward. Like you said, Richarlison for me injured. Son, I'm not saying Son's declining, but you can clearly see that he's not the player that he was when he had Harry Kane with him as well. And obviously, as you get older, your legs go. Do you know what I mean? So I just think most owners now, you look at Liverpool as well, Chelsea, United, kind of they're getting out of it now, but the last couple of years with the Glazers, all of these people, all of these owners, they just want money in the club. They generally don't care about football, like 3 points or results or who comes through the door to an extent. Like they'll gladly bring through, like Chelsea, how many youngsters have we brought through? Do you know what I mean? And half of them aren't going to make the senior squad at all. They're never going to play senior. I think we sold Washington, I think, to the Saudi Pro League. We brought him for like 15 mil. We sold him for like 21 mil, something like that. We made 6 million profit on him. He was never gonna kick a ball for us. And there's a lot of them like that. So they just churn out these things and it just generates money for the club. So I actually don't think from a hierarchy perspective that the ownership are that concerned about Ange at the moment. There's no like you're closer to the club, so you might know, but I don't hear any rumblings. Like sometimes you hear like little media leaks and things come out in the media. I ain't heard none of that about him. If anything, I think he'd be backed more than anything.
Yeah, I think for now his job's very safe.
Yeah.
His job's very safe. Like even if we was to go on to lose the next 5-6 games, I still think his job is very safe.
Even if you lose to Coventry.
I mean, I'll be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if we did.
Yeah, I know.
I still think he'd be safe.
Yeah.
But I mean, like at the same time, I'm not naive. I understand that the club need to make money, so I'm not mad at all the concerts and the F1 track underneath the stadium, because for those reasons we'll never struggle with FFP.
No, of course.
Even though the punishment for FFP is non-existent these days,
Yeah,
we might as well be breaking the rules.
Yeah.
But with that being said, like there has to be a balance. There has to be a balance. I think one of the things that annoys me the most is you go on the Spurs website, and when it mentions the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, F1, NFL, all these things are mentioned before the home of Tottenham Hotspur
I
Football Club,
swear.
and that's absurd. Like, it don't feel like a football club.
Yeah.
Like it's
It's
a
a
lovely
business,
day
isn't it?
out for a neutral. It's a lovely day out for a neutral. Stadium
Yeah.
looks nice. It's quiet as anything during the games.
Yeah.
Good
It's
day
mad that.
out, like I don't know, man. It feels a bit soulless going to Spurs nowadays.
I think that's just football in general, though. Because even like I said, I've been to Anfield a couple of times this season. Been to Stamford Bridge before the take, even like in and amongst the takeover, when Abramovich was kind of not there, but then Bowley was coming in, and I'm not gonna lie, it's more like a tourist event there. Like you literally see just pure tourists at like the games now, and I'm not saying that's a bad or a good thing. It is what it is, but you kind of lose that sense of passion, like those kind of loyal fans that are there for the club, not just there because they're in London for the weekend and they want to go see Son or they want to go and see, I don't know, another Spurs player, whoever. It's just changed. I think it's like a shift in terms of like like we're saying, business. They're not bothered about 3 points. They're actually not bothered, and that's sad because like a loyal fan, a fan who loves the club and like it stresses them out on a Saturday, it pisses off their weekend. If you're on an early kickoff, your whole weekend's done. You can't do anything after that. So those kind of fans, they're the ones that are suffering. But the other fans that go in there and they're buying all the match day stuff and all that, and that's what they want them people there because they're the ones that are churning out the money more than the likes of me who hasn't been for a time down Stamford Bridge because
I don't blame you. I don't
I
blame
don't.
you at all.
It's not because of the football. I just can't agree with like some of the ticket prices. Yeah, I think even for the Barrow game, might be Barrow. One of the games, the tickets are like £80, and I'm not one of them. Like I'm not really too fussed about the price, but I just think nah, they're taking the piss a bit here now. Our
Yeah,
pre-season game as well against Inter Milan was £75
for a
pre-season.
pre-season game,
Yeah,
for a friendly.
for a friendly. So
Ridiculous,
like
man.
they're just in it for the money, man. And
Mm.
I mean we'll move on to Chelsea now, but uh, the ownership is just it's getting messy. I don't know if you've been keeping up with it in terms of like Todd Bowley, Egbali, and all of that stuff. And basically, they both want to buy each other out. They like
No, I
clearly,
didn't. I wasn't aware of that.
yeah. So Todd Bowley basically has like a minority stake, but it's his own money. So in effect, he's probably in a better position because obviously Egbali, who's like the head of like or the face of Clear Lake, which is the other part, the consortium side of it, he's just basically looking after investors' money and he's just the face of it, like the head of it. So they're all saying that yeah, we can buy you out if it's like 4-5 million. I can't remember the figures, but and Bowley's saying no, I can buy you out. So now we got two owners or two sides of the ownership at war with each other. Like they're not on the same page in terms of managers. Like sacking Pochettino, apparently Bowley wanted to keep him. Egbali wanted to get rid of him. Bowley wanted to keep Sterling. They wanted to get rid of him. Bowley wants to sign ready-made now players. Egbali is all about bringing in 16, 17-year-olds for the future for the next 6-7 years and put them on 10-year contracts. So it's a mess, man. But it kind of reminded me what you just said about your ownership there as well, because it's almost the same thing. How do you think that's going to play out with Chelsea?
I mean, like with Chelsea, some of the signings you lot have made has just confused me, man. Because like you've got such a big squad of players, and I don't understand where half of them fit, where they're meant to be played. So I look at your recruitment, and I'm failing to understand it. But amongst that crop of players, there's players that can produce individual moments of brilliance.
Yeah, yeah.
I feel like for example, obviously Sancho was shocking at United. He played well the other day, albeit a small sample size. But when moments like that do come up and Kunku back from injury scores, Sancho
Yeah.
assist, you kind of think, oh, maybe it's gonna work. But I think, like I said, that's just down to those players having moments of brilliance in them. So I think at times you'll have games where things work out because you've got such depth in attack.
Yeah.
I still just don't understand where everyone fits and like what the system is. Obviously, you would have a much better understanding as a Chelsea fan. But is it not just a mess to you as well when you look at how big your squad is?
It is and it isn't, because I think, like, I know obviously like Ben Chilwell, for instance, isn't. I think he's kicked his last football for Chelsea. I think we'll move him on in January. I don't know why he doesn't like him or whatever, but he's gonna move him on. I worry that we haven't got a strong defender, and by that I mean mentally strong, not just like physically. I mean, we had Thiago Silva, that was what 39, I think, when he left, and I would still put him probably ahead of Fafana or Dizazi or Badiashile. I'd put him ahead of them because just mentally, like he's obviously his legs are gone, but because he's that good and he knows how to read the game, he doesn't really need the pace because he knows where to be. He knows how to intercept the ball. He knows how to, do you know what I mean, do all of them things that Fafana can't really do, and he's got the legs. That's the worrying thing. So the depth thing not necessarily doesn't worry me because I think we've got the Conference League that we've got to play, and we've got to fly out to Kazakhstan and all these mad places. The League Cup, FA Cup, we're going to try and push into some sort of European spot this season, and I think we're going to pick up a lot of injuries on the way. I really do, because that's one thing that we struggled with for years now, like 4 or 5 years, is like mad injuries. Reece James, Chilwell, Cucurella's been out. I could list. I think that at one point the whole squad was nearly out. Do you know what I mean? So I think I get the squad depth thing. I don't agree with just stockpiling players to then sell them on. I'm not really. I can't agree with that because some of the money that we could have invested in, I don't know, Osman or Gyökeres from Sporting or someone else that we actually need, we're buying like 4, 5, 18-year-olds that are never going to kick a football for us. So it's a mess. It is a mess, but I feel like we're kind of clearing out the mess a little bit and weeding out some of the players a little bit, but it's still messy. It's still clearly chaotic at the top.
How are you feeling about the new gaffer?
Do you know what? The first gaffer under this new sort of like ownership, that I kind of got a little bit of confidence. I wasn't confident with Tuchel at the end of his time, just because you could tell that things were never going to be right with him and Bowley. When Graham Potter got appointed, I just knew he wasn't going to last because he's just not. I think he said something mad like, "Oh, I've never watched the Champions League game live." Something mad like that. I can't remember what he said, and I thought, I was like, you don't know what you're doing here, and that's a worry. And then you could just see like the stress enter his body quick. Like, two months into
it. Couldn't hide it. I was the opposite though. When Potter made the step up to Chelsea, I thought things were going to go well for him. I thought he was going to have you lot playing. Then, like you said, after the first couple press conferences, you thought like he kind of had this feeling within himself that even he's surprised that he's here.
Yeah, even like he won a competition.
Yeah, literally, like he felt like the job was too big for him, and he just didn't know what to do with himself.
But then even when he went and Pochettino come in, I thought, oh yeah, we got someone that we know, got you guys to a Champions League final. We know that he's what he's about. Do you know what I mean? And he's been in the Premier League and managed a top club, and he's been in the Champions League and all of these things. And I thought, yeah, we got someone here. And then even that, I was like, yeah, it's not the manager issue, it's the ownership that's the issue. And like you kind of said before about Spurs, you could sat Ange and bring someone else in, and that ain't even going to remove the problem because the problem's still going to be there. And ours is even worse because these lot are spending, like they've got like infinite money, and they're not scared to just like, they're fine like selling hotels back to their sister company and all this nonsense. It's mad. Do you know what I'm saying? So them issues are going to trickle down to Maresca at some point. I think he's doing well to like cover them up at the moment in the press conference and things like that. But come Christmas and like March, when like the pressure's on to try and get into Europe or whatever, or hopefully we're like in the FA Cup semi-final or whatever, that's when I think he's going to start showing cracks. And when the Conference League kicks off as well, because you got like, I don't know, man. You got so many games to play. You got this big squad. You got two owners that don't like each other who still keep buying players, and then you got to keep the likes of like Dewsbury Hall happy. Why have we even got him? And Tosin and Mudrik's still there, and they're all on 10-year deals. So
the death row contract.
The death row
crazy.
contract.
Like every player's on their death row contract.
And the worst thing is, you sign them for 10 years, and then there's always an option to extend it for another, and we keep activating them. We've done it with Cole Palmer. We've just done it with Nicholas Jackson.
Yeah, the Jackson one surprised me.
Yeah, because I kind of get it a little bit, because I feel like they think if they don't secure Osman or another striker can't come in, then we might just be stuck with Jackson. And Jackson actually might get better.
I think he's got a bit better, you know. The start of last season, I was thinking, guys, meaty. But he's like at the end of the
Nah,
season.
he is.
I
You're
mean,
right.
no, but the thing is, yeah, his stats look better than what he's performed. Like because of the game against Spurs, where he banged that easy
Yeah,
hat
that was
trick
against
against
like what
Bayern.
9 men though.
Yeah, that's what
Exactly.
I'm saying. So like the stats make him look like he's played better than he has. But I'm seeing him do more than Richarlison though. In terms of like, I'm seeing him set
Yeah,
up goals for Palmer here and there. Like when he first came in, I just thought this guy's flat out terrible.
nah,
Seen a little bit more from him than I
he's
first
still like
expected.
Bambi on ice, man. I'm sorry. Like when I see him run, and he's got a defender, he's always 1v1 with the goalkeeper.
Mm,
Automatically, I know he's not scoring. I just know he
yeah,
misses too many chances to be a regular number 9 in a club that's trying to compete in things. He can't be the guy.
mm,
He might be the guy that comes off the bench and does what John Duran done for Villa the other night against Everton and just scores that
yeah.
mad screamer. He might be that
I,
guy, but
I don't know if he's got that in him though.
nah, he ain't got that in his locker. But I'm
I
just
don't know
saying
if he's got
he,
that in him.
he might score a tap in or a little header or something and
Yeah,
come off
yeah,
the bench
yeah.
and do that. But yeah, I think we need a proven striker. My worry is that I don't think this ownership chaos is going to get sorted anytime soon. So,
Mhm.
and also the fines will come, like the PSR thing will come to Chelsea eventually. It
Yeah.
will, because we keep saying that we're complying and we're offloading players, which is great, but there's only so like you can't sustain running any business, let alone a football club, the way that we're doing it
Mm,
right now. So when that
but,
hits us and we get the ban, which will happen, we're stuck with like a lot of these players that we might actually not need for 10
yeah.
years with owners that can't sell the club for like, well, they clearly, I need to read into it properly, but I know they can't make any profit within the next like 9 years of the club. So I don't think
That's
I
mad.
think they can sell it, but not at a profit or something. I can't remember. Like when Roman got out, and I keep saying this on this channel, the UK government still got Roman's money in the bank. It's crazy to me. But
Mad.
when Roman moved out the club, they done this deal. Part of the deal to buy the club was that they can't sell it for
Yeah.
10 years or something like that. So it's mad. It's crazy. It's
How are
absolutely
you
crazy.
feeling about the Conference League though? Because like,
I'm
are you
trying to avoid.
obviously, yeah, obviously it's not a fun competition to be in. You're playing against teams that you ain't never heard of, in countries you ain't never heard of. Are
Yeah.
you looking at that as like at the end of the day, it's still a European trophy, it's still something we should try and win, or are you thinking
Yeah.
just play the kid FA Cup, Carabao Cup is more important?
No, no, no. Do you know what? I think obviously you don't want to be in it, but when you're in it, you want to win
Yeah,
it. You know, one
yeah,
like that because yeah, I don't want to be in a conference league, man. But at the same time as well, I think a lot of these players that we've got now have probably never played in Europe or
mm-hmm.
they've never played in like a European competition and whatever else. So this might actually be good for some of these players that are quite
Mm-hmm.
young, inexperienced in that kind of tournament. And if we are trying to get into the Europa League or even the Champions League next season, then I think that winning that would give them a lot of confidence. It's more games, but goes back to my point about the squad depth and being able to play like a Dewsbury Hall in that game, or
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Now we've got Sancho there, we got Pedro Neto, we got João Felix. Cole Palmer's not in the squad for the Conference League. Neither is
Oh, is he not?
Fofana. No, we don't need him to fly over to Kazakhstan. Like we should be
Oh,
no disrespect to any other teams apart from maybe Fiorentina and I think Hearts are in there, but we should beat them and
mm,
Fiorentina. We shouldn't be struggling. We shouldn't be struggling with like Pedro Neto and Madweki in the team, and I think Cole Palmer is going to be crucial for the league. So I think we need to keep
yeah.
him wrapped up in cotton wool. Lavia missed a lot of football last season, so I get why he
Mm,
wasn't included. And then Fofana the same, missed pretty much most of the season, so I get why them three haven't been included. And I think we can re-register them anyway in the latter stages, but we
yeah.
shouldn't need them. Like if we're being real, like, we should not
You
need
should
them.
you shouldn't, but you will. Like
No, of
you
course,
know
of
how it
course.
is you know how it is in Europe though, when you play against teams you ain't never heard of and you expect
And
to
they
roll
could
them
just
over.
and they
Before you
come
know it,
in
you're 3
on
0
smoke.
down. Yeah, like I mean, like I've seen it with us in the Europa League and the Conference League playing teams that you just think, easy game, and then we're 3 0 down in 50 minutes. Maybe it's just a testament to how bad Spurs have been.
And
But
that's the ignorance though of the manager. I think a
mm,
little bit because like,
yeah,
you see teams and you think, oh, okay, Astana, I never heard of them. Okay, you go there and they're actually a decent team in their league.
mhm.
Do you know what I'm saying? They're top of the league.
That's-
They've won the championship 4 or 5 times.
yeah.
you get me?
And it's to do with how bad the players want it. I think a lot of the players carry it, like when you play for a big club, they carry this arrogance, like, oh,
Yeah,
forget
yeah.
about these, man. We just turn up, just do the basics, and we win.
Nah, you
But
can't.
the team that you're playing against now, this is their Champions League final. Like we're
Yeah,
playing
yeah,
against
of
Chelsea.
course.
That's everything to them, and they show it with their performances a lot of the time.
No, it's true. It's true. I'm excited. I wasn't excited for it, and I'm still not 100% committed to it. But when you're in it, it's like the League Cup for me.
Mm.
Like no one really wants to be in the League Cup. If we're being honest, like no one wants to play Barrow on a Wednesday night. But then when you get to Wembley, you're at the final. You want to win the cup.
Mm-hmm.
It's as simple as that for me, anyway. So I'm happy that we're in it. I just hope we don't pick up injuries on the way, like unnecessary, like ACLs or
Yeah,
nothing like that,
yeah,
because
yeah, yeah.
you get them, it ruins the season. And
Mm-hmm.
the only other thing is, a lot of our games now will be like on a Sunday, Monday. I'm not really. It doesn't really impact the schedule, because you could play Champions League on a Tuesday and I still have to play 12:30 on a Saturday. But I don't like playing after everyone else. I like to kind of play
Mm.
whilst they're playing.
Yeah,
See that
I get
mentality
you.
thing, catching up and all that. We ain't got that. We ain't got the players to do that. We haven't
Yeah,
at all. So I don't know, man. What are you in? Tottenham? Tottenham? Did Tottenham
Europa League.
Europa League? I was trying to
I'll
think
be
who.
real, bro. I'm I'm buzzing to be in the Europa League.
Yeah, of course, man.
And I know probably you don't hear no one say that, yeah.
No,
But
no, no. Come on. Listen, like I said, when you're
I,
in it, you want to win it.
bro, I was saying at the end of last season, right, when it was about Arsenal beating City and us fighting for top four, and no, sorry, us losing to City and fighting for top four and that whole thing. I was adamant, regardless where Arsenal finished, I want Europa League football next season. People are looking at me like I'm stupid, but the reason being, the benefits that come from Champions League, obviously, little cash injection. Let's be honest, Tottenham, I think we're like the eighth richest club in the world. That
Yep.
extra few mil is not stretching that far in terms of from Europa League to Champions League money.
Yeah, yeah.
And then people talk about the Champions League pool. Allegedly, the best players we've signed in the last few years came without even the expectation of Champions League football. So I do think that's slightly overrated as well. But I think for me, we've got so many young players that are touted to be quality. Obviously, the new signings: Archie Gray,
Yep.
Bergvall, some of the under-21 boys, Will Lancashire, Mikey Moore. All of these players that have been seriously hyped up. This
Yeah.
gives them a platform to show what they can do against teams that, let's be honest, not to say we expect to beat them. I don't expect to beat anyone necessarily, but in a competition that is more our level.
Yeah, yeah.
And also, I think it's a shot at winning the European title. Like I said, it's not going to be easy. There's still good. There's still good teams in there. But if we was in the Champions League, we're in there to make up the numbers purely. We're not achieving nothing in the Champions League. New format or old format, whatever format. But in the Europa League, we've got a
Nah,
genuine
it's
shot.
winnable,
So
man. It's
I'm
winnable.
buzzing. I'm looking forward to Thursdays. Never thought I'd say that.
No one's ever said that before, though, to be fair. Even I can't go that far. But I hear you. Nah, I get what you're saying, man. Because you know what? It's like people frown on it. Like,
Yeah.
when because we played Arsenal in the final, I think,
Hmm.
for the Europa in Baku. And you see, when we won that, it wasn't just about the Europa League as well. It's about the bragging rights on Arsenal as
Yeah.
well. Do you get what I'm saying? And like, when you get there, you just want to win it. And I'm sure it's a gateway into the Champions League anyway, if you win it.
Yeah.
So
It is, yeah.
you got to go into it with the idea that you're going to win that. And
Mm.
yeah, I'm glad now the new format, like I was saying before we start recording, was like the new format. The Champions League means that other teams in the Champions League can't drop out and then fall into the Europa League, which I think is good.
Thank God.
No, I think it's good. I've never agreed
Yeah.
with that, because I think you've had
Yeah.
one crack at the whip in the Champions League. How dare you come now into the Europa
Mhm.
League and try to take something that other teams have had to probably qualify to get into? Do
I agree.
you get what I'm saying? So, but the new format, just for anyone who doesn't know, I was going to put it on the screen, but I'm just going to read it off. So this is for the Champions League. So the top 8 qualify. So sorry, let me go back one step. So it's a single group of 36 teams, and each team will play their 8 opponents, 4 away, 4 at home, once. So you don't do like that kind of home away thing anymore. Then the top 8 teams will qualify in this big league. Then the teams that finish 9th and 24th will go into a playoff round for the remaining 8 knockout places, and then the remaining 25 to 36 teams will be eliminated. And then going on to the last 16, it's the same format, nothing's changed. So you got your round of 16, your quarterfinals, your semi-finals, and then your final. You agree with that? Do you reckon they've done that, UEFA, in terms of trying to change the format more for like monetary, maybe have more games on of a night, like the same night? Although I swear there's games, Champions League games on Thursdays now as well. Do you think they've just done that in terms of like a monetary thing, trying to get more money into the UEFA, or I read it's something to do with something to do with World Cup or something, Club World Cup, because they've changed the Club World Cup now as well, and they're trying to
Yeah,
compete or something like that. The two governing bodies.
yeah, I'm not too familiar with the Club World Cup stuff, but I think off face value, I'd assume it's for monetary gain, and also like it's quite Americanized the format. Like it
Yeah, yeah,
slightly resembles the NBA in the sense that like you have the league, and then teams that make it through to the playoff rounds, and so like I hear it for I guess maybe the more casual fan who's not necessarily hugely into football, they might watch Champions League now and see it as a bigger spectacle. For me personally, I don't really love changing football, no matter what it is. I feel like the more changes we make in football, kind of the more we stray away from just simplicity of the game, whether
yeah.
that's VAR or new handball rules or whatever. Like I'm not really for none of it. So don't love it, but it's here to stay. You've got to accept it. Maybe it makes the games more entertaining. Who knows? I'd imagine it's slightly more games, right? Because of the.
I think so.
Or does it work out the same?
That's what I was trying to work out. So you play 4 home, 4 away. I think if it's anything, I think it's more games
Yeah.
but less travel. I think I'm not sure. I can't even.
Mm.
I need to sit down and fully read
I think
that.
we need to see the competition play out for one season before we can
Yeah,
get
yeah,
like a full grasp on the way it works.
100%. But even just then, I was watching Aston Villa, and they played Young Boys tonight, and they looked decent. Bearing in mind they only played Saturday. They played in against Everton, but they looked decent against them, and they looked comfortable in there. And I'm happy for them because they're a club that deserved it. Like they done really well last season under Emery. But yeah, I just think it's more to do, yeah, money. I think because the Club World Cup now is played very similar. Like we're in the Club World Cup next year. That's how mad it is.
Okay.
I think it's like the last like 4 winners or something. Like I can't even remember. But it's like basically they changed the format similar to this, and I think your FIFA and your UEFA are both trying to like kind of like bang heads and compete against each other. So I've heard anyway. But yeah, let's see how it plays out. Because it won't necessarily change it for a fan. I don't think it's more for the players and maybe how often they'll be traveling and the game time that they'll be playing and all that. But I don't think it'll have that much of an impact on the fans and TV rights and all that. I think it'll be calm. So
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that, man. Just before we wrap up, I want to do a couple quick fires on some of the other games. Obviously, we've got to talk quickly about Liverpool Forest. We can't not do this. I know Damon's not here, Laura's not here, but we're talking Liverpool because if they'd won, I'm sure they would have been on here. Do you get what I'm saying? So,
Yeah. Yeah.
good game for Forest, man. Very good game. Really impressed with how they played, man. But what was your thoughts on them, very quick?
Bro, I mean, I've seen Callum Hudson-Odoi score that same goal like 15 times, bro.
Trust me.
Like, why can my wingers not just cut inside and whip one top in? Every time he cuts inside and curls one, you know what's going in.
You know what's happening.
Like
Yeah.
the one thing about football is the goal doesn't move. It's in the same place. Like you try that goal in training 100 times a day. It's no wonder he pulls it off in matches. But we
Yeah.
don't shoot from outside. But anyway, it's not about Spurs. But I think coming into the season, I didn't have much expectations for Liverpool. Obviously, a new manager, Klopp had been there for what, 6 years. Like
Yeah.
it's it's such a drastic change. I think Salah, Trent, and Van Dijk, I believe, are all on their last year of their contract, so their
Yeah.
futures are kind of up in the air. So it's a weird one for Liverpool. I have no idea what to expect from them this season. I think they started really well in terms of the first couple games, just a bit shaky. And I'm seeing like Liverpool fans now talk about, oh, this is what we expected. Like, knew kind of the
Nah,
honeymoon
they
period was
never.
over. To be honest, I'm kind of neutral. I don't know what to expect. I haven't watched enough of them for the start of the season. I can't really tell you what slots changed, if anything, because obviously it's difficult to change a style that's been implemented over the course of 6 years with key players that were part of all of that still a part of this Liverpool squad. So I think I expect them to drop points in games that they shouldn't be throughout the
Yeah.
course of the season.
Yeah.
Because Slot's got to find his feet, and like I said, the unsurety of what players are staying and what's not, there's going to be issues for them. It's not going to be a smooth sailing season.
At all. No, and the signs were there when Klopp was there as well. You have to remember some of the shaky games that they had under Klopp, especially when they still had like Jordan Henderson that season, and yeah, they were shaky then, and I mean, they're still playing some really good football, and I think that the build-up play is slightly slower than it was under Klopp. That's probably the biggest difference I think under Arne Slot is that they like the slower progression from back to front up to their attackers. But they got to remember Salah's a lot older now. Nunes hasn't really hit the ground running this season. They need to secure Trent, like you said, Van Dijk need to get them done. They obviously bought a replacement for Alisson already before he's even gone. So yeah, no, I thought Forest deserved it though. I thought they played really well, really good football, and like you said, Callum Hudson-Odoi, good player, man, very good player. I'm glad he's got his career back on track, man, because he went off a little bit. Yeah, he's a good player.
Yeah, 'cause I mean, when he was at you lot, he was touted to be like a quality player, and like you say, kind of just stagnated. So I'm happy for him as well. I think his quality.
Do you want to hear a story though? Do you know who we got rid of to keep Callum Hudson-Odoi in the team at Chelsea? Jamal Musiala. We sold him, but we didn't sell him. I think Bayern Munich, like because of the age he was at the time, they had to pay us 500,000 for him. But he technically went there, and we thought that Callum Hudson-Odoi was going to develop a lot quicker than him. That was when Frank Lampard was there his first time, and yeah, we got rid of Musiala and kept Callum Hudson. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but you see that Musiala's Musiala right now, and Callum Hudson-Odoi is whipping balls into the bottom corner. I get it, but you're picking Musiala. He's not a Musiala, so yeah. But no, I thought Forest played well, man. And then we got to talk quickly about Everton. Two games on the bounce now. They've been 2-0 up. I think the first one was Bournemouth 2 weeks ago, and then Saturday 2-0 up. Calvert-Lewin should have had more than a hat trick in that game. And then from nowhere, Villa just grow into the game, go on top, 3 goals, the wonder goal. I've asked Damon this, I've asked Kojo this, I'm going to ask you the same. Are Everton in trouble this season?
Absolutely. I think Everton have been almost in trouble for the last couple seasons. Like Everton are that team where they just don't impress anyone really over the course of the season. I mean, they've got players that someone like Calvert-Lewin can come up with the goals. He's nowhere near as consistent enough as you need. I mean, like, I was surprised it was even 2-0 up against Villa, to be honest. I've been very impressed with Villa.
One eye on tonight, though, I reckon. I reckon they had one eye on tonight's game, the young boys game.
Yeah, probably. But, yeah, I think Everton are definitely in trouble this season.
Be sad for them, then. I know, like, I'm in Liverpool, so it's sad for them, though. You're starting that championship new stadium. It'll be mad for them in the championship, man, because the stadium's built now. I think it's there, it's ready. So yeah, starting life in the championship in a new stadium, man, and it's not hard. It's not going to be easy to get out of the championship if they go down, because there's some tough games in there. There'll be some tough teams. So absolutely, bigger teams are dropped further down, like Charlton, Coventry were in League One at one point. So I'm just saying, man, Leeds were down there at one point. It's not easy, man, at all.
It's sad though. It's proper sad because, like, on a real nostalgic one, I'm sure you've been seeing all the Barclays men comps on Twitter.
Yeah.
We're seeing like Everton are a real Barclays side. Like, maybe remember my childhood watching that Everton team and like seeing certain players like Yakubu and then man, they're just like Everton are a real Premier League side.
Stephen Pienaar.
Like to watch the direction they're going in now is. Yeah, man. Especially like you say with the new stadium. So what, are they moving into the new stadium at the start of next season then? Or
yeah. They were meant to do it this year and then got delayed. Got delayed a year, so then they're moving in there. But I'll be honest, I think they need to get rid of Sean Dyche and bring in David Moyes. That's what I think, man. Because I think Sean Dyche is one of them where, like, I hear him talk in press conferences. Like a couple of weeks back, he was like, "Oh yeah, if you don't win games, the Everton fans are gonna get on top of you." And I'm like, but that's just fans in general, like not just Everton fans. Like any fan that loves the club, if you're the man that's meant to be paid to do the job here, to get the 3 points and coach these players, and you're not doing that or manage these players on and off the field, the buck stops with you, my friend. You are the guy to do what you need to do, and you're getting paid a nice decent wage. So you gotta sort that out, my friend. But David Moyes, man, I think he'll come back in.
Yeah, I think he'll do well for them.
He's done it before, man.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. We'll have to see, man. But Callum, man, appreciate you jumping on as always. We need to get you back
Appreciate
on
you
regular,
having me,
man.
bro.
Might have to throw you into the WhatsApp and get you on a
Yeah,
regular
man.
basis,
Yeah,
man.
I don't mind. I feel like my love for football starting to come back a little bit more. Despite
It's that
being,
Europa League, isn't it?
yeah, I think maybe it's the Thursday night excitement. But yeah, man, it's been a pleasure and happy to come back on whenever, bro.
Yeah, man, 100%, man. And like I said, anyone that's been in the live, yeah, man, appreciate everyone that's been on. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like the video. Leave thoughts after it as well. If you're on the audio version of the podcast, again, make sure you head over to the YouTube and do all of that stuff. Hit the notification bells and everything like that, man. And then, yeah, man, we'll be back soon. We're out.